Yo folks, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'll be covering a beginner's guide for Limbus Company. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. First things being, we are at the Windows section. Let's go into Drive and show you how this gameplay works. We're gonna go to 2-18. Some people are struggling. These are the units I have. Just note, this is my only 3-star that I'm using on my team, but let's jump into battle, all right? We're gonna break everything down and how centers work and how the gameplay works, how you can never get staggered, and how you can just dominate and outspeed everything. How formations works. I know everyone has a bunch of questions, but let's get through this. So one thing to note, this is quote unquote the turn order right here. You see 5, 4, 3, 3, and 2. And this is the opponent's turn order, 3, 4, 3, and 2. Just note, this number is random. This is like the speed roll, quote unquote. It's almost like a D&D thing. If you don't know what D&D is, it's Dungeons and Dragons. So this is a random factor, all right? And technically, my Gregor, he's gonna go first because he is the most speediest boy. And right here is the most important section, the clash meter. So it says dominating, that's a good thing. And it also has like this little orange stuff that's sparking, and it's more on the right-hand side. That's what you wanna see. Now, let's break down the numbers. So this 6 originates from this number 5, all right? This, I know, does not match. Just note the opponent's does match, where his is 2 and 2, okay? It's supposed to be a 5, it's not. Anyways, now how do we get the number 9 right here? There are 3 coin flips, and each coin flip is +1, as you can see right here. So that's why it's 9. Opponent is technically doing it better, where each coin flip is a +2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. All right, that's how you get the 2 out of 8. This is how you get the 6 out of 9. Now, another thing that you guys are probably wondering about are the skill effects and how this works. So each coin toss has a random multiplier. So the first coin toss, if we land head, we get an extra burn. If we land head again, we land an extra burn. Just note, on hit does not mean that you have to land heads. It just means you land a hit. So sometimes you might not trigger any of these coin flips, but you'll definitely trigger the on hit one because most likely you dealt 6 damage or 5 base damage. That's what the difference is between on hit and on heads, because on heads, you might not be able to trigger these, all right? A little confusing. Just let me know in case you have questions. I'll give you guys an image of like how coin flips and everything is working in the background. But another thing is that on this 3rd coin flip, we have a 3 burn guaranteed. Not to mention, if the character or opponent has 6 burns already applied to them, then we get an extra attack level. Now, this opponent is not like burned. That's not why we're getting like the 6 out of 9. I just want to say that. Anyways, let's go right more into this. So the next fight, it says favored, and the reason for that is because they have a higher chance of out damaging us. This is, I know it says 4, but if they do a 2 plus 2, this which equals 4, and we tails on our end, then we're gonna butt heads and no one's gonna deal damage. That's why it says favored right there. Technically speaking, we could do this one, and now we're dominating. So we have 6 base damage, and we're gonna trump like in case he lands heads, because he's gonna get an extra 2 damage, then it doesn't matter because 6 is always gonna beat 4, right? So on the next one, we have 100%. We haven't talked about this yet. Now the 100% is annotated by the fact that they are weak to slashing damage. This is the slashing damage type right here, this little icon, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But that's how we get the 100%, and this is how we got the 116%. The 116 being the fact that there's an extra multiplier that I'm not seeing just yet. But one thing to note, we should use this one because this has 3 coin flips, which is just much better than the 2 coin flips. And not to mention, we also inflict paralysis. So that's why I picked this one. And then for this particular fight, we're 5 out of 11, and this one's 5 out of 17. So we'll pick the 5 out of 17. And then for this one, it's 4 out of 12, 4 out of 12. Just note, it doesn't say anything. That means it's unopposed, which also means that we're not going to be having to clash. And then one thing to note, it's not good to just match colors. Sloth resistance just being the fact that we have more damage capabilities, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because what matters more is the fact that we are dominating this section of the fight. So right here, 5 out of 17, even though I know we have a chance of dealing more damage, I like more coin flips and more damage potential. This one inflicts paralysis and then inflict 2 offense a level down next turn. So I like that one a little bit more. So another thing to annotate is this right here. And we can also click the 3 arrows right there. And the reason why we want to take a look at this is because we can also see who's going to be getting staggered or who's going up against who. This is a nice thing to turn on. So we have finally gotten through everything. We can go and start the fight. Right here, there's going to be coin flips. We lost a first coin flip. We got 6 out of 7. We got a coin flip right there. We got 8 and then 10. Just note, coin flips do stack. So this is how the fight breaks down. It's coin flips, right? And coin flips are something that's greatly important. It's the fact of you're going to be dealing 4 damage or 8 damage as you just saw. And because most of our coin flips landed and we have like just higher coin damage, then we staggered everyone. Now, some of you are like, oh my gosh, I have to do these calculations every single time. Well, technically you don't because everyone's staggered, but you could also click win rate right here. And this will make it so that you pick the best stagger potential, or the fact that if we were clashing, then we have a higher likelihood to win. Damage is obviously, you're gonna deal more damage. Just note these 2 meters only matter in abnormality fights, and these 2 meters only trigger when you have 1, beaten the stage, or 2, you're in an abnormality fight. It's a quality of life feature. I know some guys or some people are wondering like, hey, what's the auto feature? That is technically the auto feature right there. And as you can see, we're landing our coin flips. Some of them, you know, we didn't land that one because that was a 3. And that's how we're gonna deal the damage. They're low morale, so when you're low morale, like your units, they will not attack based off of what you pick. They'll just do like something random, as you can see. Now we are on the second wave. So you can see there's 3 waves to this fight. This is also why it's relatively difficult. And we also didn't talk about this power section right here. Just note, when I trigger 2 of this type, this is Pride, then we will deal extra status effects or deal extra damage, all right? So 3 Wrath right here, we're gonna gain some haste. 3 of this one, we're gonna get some extra bleed procs. And then 2 of this one, we get extra burn hits, all right? So we're gonna go ahead and do win rate. As you can see, we're guaranteed Dark Cloud Blade, and everyone's clashing right here. You can also break it down in case you wanna see it. So right here, we're dominating. We're favored on this one. This one, they're dodging, and we're dominating. And let's go ahead and start. So this is everything. The gameplay is just RNG. Like, your speed is RNG, your damage is RNG. That's why it's better to run high burst comps, more coin flip comps. And I know it can get a little bit confusing with how everything's flowing because you can't determine who's a support, who's a tank, who's a healer. Healers and tanks are not important in this game. What's more important is that you understand the coin flipping system, where we have 10 damage potential here. We have 25 damage potential right here with Overbreath. That is going to be her skill effect +3, or this is her like awakening skill and Don Quixote, my favorite unit, and 375% extra damage. It's like a surefire kill. That's why I absolutely love her. And then right here, 225%. We're just gonna go ahead and go for the win rate. Let me know if you guys have questions. I know like the coin flips are really complicated, but as you can see right there, we landed all of our coin flips and we dealt massive damage. Right here, we landed our Overbreath. We dealt 76 damage right there on the coin flip, right? If we didn't land the coin flip, we would do much less damage. So we're gonna go ahead and do win rate. We haven't done this yet, but when we do win rate, I wanna know who's attacking who. So right here, we're gonna be clashing Gregor and okay, so we have potential right there. And Boss is going to be attacking on this one. She is still favored. So Gregor, one thing I wanna do is trigger his E.G.O. I don't have an E.G.O. available because none of them are going to be, you know, I don't have the cost for it. So this one is asking for more sloth or more of the green stuff. I only have 1 of the green stuff, as you can see right there. I haven't mentioned it, but you know, E.G.O. should be saved for the final boss fight. We have 260 health that we need to bring down. But you know, if we can deal that 76 damage that you saw earlier with Don Quixote, that would be nice. We lost the coin flip. This one, we won the coin flip, so 29 damage, 8 damage, and then 7 damage right here. And obviously the multipliers of 100%, we will deal more damage because of the slashing type, right? That's what we talked about earlier. Each attack has a attack type, right? So this is like tremor or blunt. And then there's piercing. None of the people I have here, medium piercing. So we're losing all the coin flips. That is why we didn't deal much damage right there. And then sometimes you don't coin flip against the opponent, as you can see. and we just deal straight damage because we have more attacks on the field. All right, we are winning this fight, that is for sure. They are staggered, and he has the little pink thing on his head. And this is really good. So we're going to go ahead and do win rate right here. And now we're going to trigger our E.G.Os and make sure. We're going to do win rate again. She's going to be attacking. No, she's not attacking. So like I said, we save our E.G.Os for the bosses. Who's he going to be? Okay, he's going to be attacking the boss. So I'm going to trigger the E.G.O. We're going to do win rate again. Oh, it doesn't auto do that? Let's go for damage then. Oh, it's not picking it. It really doesn't want to pick it. That's interesting. All right, we'll pick it manually because I think like that's just much better damage, right? Isn't it? Yeah, it's only a base 16. So this is like a base 18. Oh, it doesn't want me to do it because it's minus 12%. And that has to do with the fact that he's strong against piercing damage. All right, that's why it's not picking that one. So we're going to go ahead and go with what the game says. That is actually good. And we're not going to be triggering our E.G.O. Just note, even if I didn't cast it, or if I wanted to use the E.G.O., so long as it's not highlighted, it's not going to be used. So we might be killing our boss right here relatively quickly, because all of our units are insanely strong because I've upgraded them and such. But you can see this guy is tanking everything. Like the 4, they clash, and we don't deal any extra damage to them. Like he's keeping that 222 or 220. Now he's at 213, and now he's at 180 after all the damage. Cloudburst, the strongest skill on my 2 identity. Hong Lu right there. He didn't land the coin flips. We didn't deal as much damage. But let's go ahead and see. So we're gonna trigger our Don Quixotes. He's not doing like the little like over breath, which deals like insane amounts of damage. And Gregor, he can't use his. Then Hong Lu, he can't use his. But we can use our boy Yi Songs right here. And then can we use Foss's? Yes, we can. Yes, we can, because we meet all the cost requirements right there on the right-hand side. And then we're going to go for win rate. And everything should be dominating for the most part. So dominating, favored, neutral, and neutral. So let's go ahead and start. This is going to be our first fight, and we do the Shangri-La right here. This is going to be the E.G.Os. We do hopefully at least a base 23 damage because I think we won the coin flip. So we'll see. We did 8 damage right there. To do some extra animations, and we deal the 29 damage. So we did win the coin flip for that one. That is really awesome. And then we get 10 damage right there for catch the breath. And then 6, and then 8. And then, you know, coin flips are triggering. 4, 6. I'm sure you guys are tired of like me saying that word. Every single fight, every single encounter is a gacha. So right there, our highest damage dealer, our MVP, Don Quixote, in her section 6 form. So, sinners, she section 5. This is my Don Quixote, my pride and joy. You can see right here, this is how she deals so much damage, plus 21. So one coin flip will determine if she's going to be dealing 4 damage or 25 damage, then not to mention these other multipliers. Hit the eye right here, you're going to be breaking a couple of things down. So these are going to be the different damages. So right here, this is slash, this is pierce, and this is blunt, all right? And slash is ineffective, and then that means slashing damage will deal less, and then normal, you know, normal. And then fatal means that they're going to be taking heavy damage from blunt. And annotate the fact that they have 3 out of 6 speed, 11 defense, and 66. This is not for my Don Quixote. This is for this Hong Lu, the 3-star version, as you can see right there in the background. And then we also have the fact of the identity story. This is how you can change up their art. And then this is going to be their tiers. And then you use tiers with the dupe system. We'll talk about it. And then this is the level, right? Now, another thing, the skills, we talked about it. Each identity has a skill. Each coin flip triggers, you know, this is heads. So we will deal an extra 25 damage. If we land heads on this hit, it'll be a base damage of 5. So this is a potential 30 damage. And then this card appears up to 4 times. That's what this 4 means right there. And then it reuses on heads hit. So plus 100% damage for this coin in particular. So it'll be even more than the 30 damage if you land heads. And on kill, you can use the skill again. So this is why this Hong Lu is really broken. We'll cover it in the tier list. And then here's another thing. You can see attack type. There's 3 different attack types. This is slash right here. Number of coin flips that we talked about. Then times 4, this is the amount of times you can use this skill set. We just talked about it. And then over here, the Sin affinity, this is a slot or gluttony affinity. So that's why it's green, and that's why sometimes it's more effective. And then right here, the coin power, an extra 25 damage, 5 or skill power. I like to call it like the base, like coin power, but it's up to you. Base power is 5, then 14 offense level. That is counted against the defense, but you know, it's up to you. It's not as important as this number right here, the skill power. And then we have the growth meter, which also is another RNG factor. And then, like I said, the coin effects and all this stuff, we talked about it. Now that we know all that, we can also change the art. So this is the base form. You might have gotten this Don Quixote. She is fairly common. That's how you change up the art. And then you can blow it up in case you want to see it. I absolutely love this one. Just note she has 3 out of 6 speeds, so she's at least guaranteed 3 speed, which is really good. And upwards to 6 speed is really awesome. Sometimes this stacks, so they can get extra speed. And then 23 defense is pretty good. Let's look at my Honglu right here. He has 3 out of 7. You saw earlier he had like 8 speed in some cases. But this guy's my pride and joy as well, mostly because of this ability right here. He has a base 6 skill power. And then every single time he coin flips, it's +2. And then he can coin flip up to 3 times, so this can go up to like 15 damage. My best character is going to be right here, because I don't have like the 3 identity. If you're wondering which is better, the 3 identity or the 2 identity Honglu, this guy, I say the 2 identity just because I have more coin flips and I have better chances with the base 6 skill power or coin power, as I was referencing earlier. It's really like how you decide things. And just note, I want to break it down one more time. He is strong against slash, so slashes are ineffective. Piercing is normal damage to him, but blunt damage is very fatal. So I'm going to have a difficult time on chapter 3, I believe. Yeah, that's how everything works. I want to do one more thing because some of you might be having a difficult time when it comes to just selecting your team members. So you see how it's yellow right here? You can unselect them, right? This is the selecting portion. Now, how you change them is when it goes red right here. When you click them right here, you can switch between the different Honglus, right? 1-0 or 1-star Honglu, but now I'm going to switch to the 2-star Honglu, all right? So another thing that you can pay attention to is the E.G.O right here. So E.G.O, these are going to be the 2 that are selected. Yes, you can have more than 2 selected at a time, so you can equip up to 6 E.G.Os. But at the same time, just note you have to meet the requirements in order to trigger them. And what's really cool about these E.G.Os is that the base ones, they cost 0 sanity, so you can't go berserk. And another thing is that these cost sanity, so you can go berserk. And if you go berserk, technically you start corroding. And this is when you start attacking your allies. And this is like the one negative to these like higher damage type E.G.Os. But just note, this is a base damage of 14, and it can get a +8 coin flip, so this can go to like 22 damage, which is really insane. And this one has a base damage of 17, or base skill power 17, and then it can +4, so it can do 21 damage. Just note, this is an AoE, so it can hit like your allies and everything. That's what it means by corrosion, and that's what happens when you lose a lot of sanity. And then passives are locked right now. But you can see right here, the passives, right? Turn start at less than 25% HP, then you heal 15 and gain 2 protection. But a random ally also loses 15 SP, which I think is sanity points, right? So let's look at this character because I have unlocked her passives. As you can see, I gain haste. That was the power meter that you guys saw earlier, where I get more haste based off of the amount of wrath I use. And then also one ally with the highest speed deals extra slashing damage. So Honglu and my girl Don Quixote right here, they pair really well together because they both do the slashing damage type. Just note, there are going to be units that can deal, piercing and slashing type. So that's another thing to annotate. And if you're wondering, why is my up high tier 3? So once you hit chapter 3, all of your base units will be going to up high 3, which is, dupe 3. And now that we're talking about dupes, because I have max uptide this character right here, my Don Quixote, how exactly do you do that? E.G.O right here, he has an uptide tier of 1, and it costs 20 thread. So let's say I want more thread, right? So we're gonna go to the thread exchange, or you can go into, this is like extract the summoning feature, We're not going to worry about that yet. We're going to go to dispense right here. So this is how you trade E.G.O shards. You see Yi-Song E.G.O shard into a thread. And that's how I would get 20 thread in order to increase his tier. And the reason why you would increase his tier is because you get more damage, more stats, more passives, this, that, and the third. And this is the dupe section where you use E.G.O shards specifically. So for example, I wanted the 3-star version of Don Quixote. This is her 3-star version, right? Which is also really good, but we'll talk about that in the tier list. But yeah, that's how this works. And that's why E.G.O shards are so important. I have no idea why they didn't do a universal currency. I guess they wanted to do it this way because some banners are going to be on rate up and they didn't want it to be too easy. But hopefully, you know, maybe one day they change the system and everyone's E.G.O shards are the same. But at the end of the day, I have 42 of the Gregor shards, and that means I have a really high chance of acquiring his identity one day. And the same shards are technically used between like identities and E.G.O. So I have 36 Yi-Song right here, but let's go into Mersault right here. He has 6 out of 400. And then if I go over here, I check the Mersault, I have 6 out of 400, right? So that's how those E.G.O shards work. It's up to you how you want to use them. I got my Gregor E.G.O, right? It's not available to me. And that's why I traded a bunch of Gregor E.G.O shards into threads. That is the most important factor. If you're wondering, should I still keep summoning on the Gregor one? If you want more threads, sure, but you should probably save in case we get better banners in the future. We have finally covered most of the gameplay and drive sections. We haven't covered the mirror dungeon, so we have 5 times that we can complete this. These doors will open as we complete more stages within like the main storyline being fairly difficult. And then our main window, let's talk about a couple of things. This is how you switch between your different characters and, you know, change your home menus. Let's go ahead and pick our lovely assassin version of our Don Quixote, or section 5. And then right here, this is gonna be announcements, right? How we get everything, system notice. This is the mail, how we claim everything. This is how we get our consumables. For example, this is the E.G.O shard crate that you get from the mirror dungeon. We open one, we get a random counter. We get 2 Honglu shards right there. And then we also have right here the settings, and this is how you're going to be deleting your accounts and everything, which we showcase. I put my graphics up to 60 FPS, and then you can also change your screen. I'm not going to do that right now. Let's go ahead and jump back, and then let's go ahead and jump back. So, and this is going to be the season pass. Just note, there are going to be E.G.Os right here, or E.G.Os that you can unlock. Ebony's Theme, I want to unlock that one eventually. And then 4th match, this is a premium E.G.O. So you have to buy the Limbus Pass, which is $10.99. Is this worth it? Yes, because you get access to all of the E.G.Os that could be absolutely insane. And honestly, I'm kind of curious if they're better than the ones that we have. And these ones are probably going to make our characters go kind of crazy, like they make you lose sanity. But I'll showcase what that looks like in a different video. This one just has you using Mersault battle 1 times. I know this is bugged for some players. You can access weeklies on your Steam client right here, as you can see. And then here's going to be the seasonal missions. Oh, we can actually see Ebony Stem right there. And yeah, that's window. We talked about Sinners, Drive, Theater. This is probably the best way so you can see everyone's name, because I know some of you are like, who's who? This is how I remembered. And then here's going to be Mirror Worlds and all the different requirements and stuff, right? And over here, this is going to be the main story. So in case you want to revisit some stuff. Also, we do have a Google spreadsheet of all of the gameplay tips in case you're like, everything that I said went out the ear and you just want to read it. I did type it all out. I did do some breakdowns on characters, but just note, we do have ideal rerolls and everything, and I do have a tier list. We'll do like the videos and explanations later. You guys are like, oh my gosh, I really want to see that. I want to cover one more source. The Pride When, as always, they do an amazing job of compiling information and databasing. I think this is the most important thing because everyone should know what all the different characters are. You can organize them by triple identities, and then, or, you know, double identities, 2 stars, 3 stars, whatever you want to call them, all stars, right? You'd be like, I want slashing damage only, I want piercing damage. Just know these are the only like piercing damage, or they deal piercing damage. These guys deal slashing damage. So some of them, they're going to deal multiple damage types. In case you guys want to break down on this, you can technically use your stamina to acquire modules. Our modules used, in case you guys are wondering, you go right here into the Inferno. You go, no, not into this stage. Let's jump back. Because you have to do it on a particular stage. We're on this one right here, 219. This is how we're going to be using those modules, right? So we burn 2 and we can go through that one. Technically, you can power level through there. I don't really recommend it because it takes too damn long. Oh, we didn't talk about abnormalities. Let's just go ahead and do it. I'm getting really tired. Nice. Our first fight is an abnormality. We're gonna go ahead and jump through this just so you guys understand, and we're gonna power through it really quick. Abnormality fights, they're a little bit different. So what makes them so different is the fact that you have to target a single enemy type, right? So it takes a little bit longer. Some of you are like, oh gosh darn, we're gonna do like the coin flip thing again. Well, technically, you can just do win rate, right? You can see we have a higher win likelihood with the skill set, or you can do damage, where we're aiming only on one opponent. You should probably not use damage on abnormality fights, and you should go for win rate, and it's probably pretty important to leave the arrows right here on. Let's go ahead and hit start. And just note, the auto is really bad for abnormality fights in particular, even though it gives you the option. So I'm going to go ahead and say, try not to use it if possible, all right? Because this is just a really bad habit to use on fights that you just have to pay attention to. We got our coin flips right there. They're staggered. We're just gonna go ahead and win rate again. For these lower end fights, you will absolutely decimate them, so there's no issues. Damn, the big 69. I love to see it. The Don Quixote. Dang, we got the 78 damage right there as well. That is going to be free to play Otis, by the way. And she has insane damage potential. You saw the 70. We finally made it. We got to the shelter, okay? So this is really important, and the reason why it's so important is because you can see we can jump between sections of the map because we have cleared it. But once we've unlocked the shelter, technically we can go to a checkpoint. When we go to a checkpoint, this is how technically you can heal. And the reason why that's so important is because some of your characters are going to be losing health as we go through different sections. And this happens right before the boss fight right here in this abnormality fight. So technically, I can jump out of it and we're not going to forfeit. We're going to go to main menu and save our progress. I want to showcase that portion because you might not want to go through that entire dungeon portion of that particular map. And that's just one way to avoid it. And then if you want to jump back in, then you definitely can. But I'm not going to do that. And we do have some summons. We'll do summons a little bit later. In case you guys have more questions, just let me know down in the comments below. Here is, once again, the amazing coin power, skill power stuff breakdown. If you get anything out of this image right here, I just want to say, as long as it says dominating or this sparking is on the right-hand side, then you're doing good, all right? It's not just about matching colors and triggering E.G.Os. It's about making sure you are more on the right-hand side. You're either dominating, overwhelming them. Unopposed is bad because technically that means you're not clashing, which is what's happening right here. Like this number 4 is clashing. But once again, if you have any questions, if you have other tips that you want to share, place them down in the comments. Anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram in case you want to see my face and all the con stuff. Once we hit 40k subs, you're doing a giveaway. Guys, please give me some feedback on this video. I spent a lot of time. I didn't just release a beginner's guide because it took so much time to compile this information and just understand what the heck was going on. I've definitely lost my mind, but that's what Project Moon games do to you. I understand if this gameplay isn't for everyone, but once you understand it, it's so gosh darn addicting. First impressions later, cheer list later. Thanks so much. Have yourself a fantastic day, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.